This video is going to walk you through how to do a B-level problem on the learning target solving polynomials graphically. So this is actually from that performance task practice, and I'm going to go through this problem. So the first thing that you have to do is enter it into Desmos. So I've already done that, and this is what our graph looks like. So here's my equation. Remember, when you enter it in Desmos, you don't actually have to put the f of x equals or the y equals. So this is what it looks like. So it's kind of hard to see. I'm going to change the color here. Make it a little easier to see. And we'll just leave it black. So I can see that I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 roots right here. So right away, I know those are my roots. But I can't see what's going on up here or down here. So I'm going to have to change my y-intercepts. So you notice if I just zoom out, that doesn't actually help me see a shape. So that's why we recommend going into the wrench and then changing the y-axis. So I like to just go in here and maybe start at like a -10. Okay, I still can't see it. Get rid of that. So I'm going to add a 0. Still can't see it. I'm going to add another 0. So now I'm at 1,000. Okay, so I can start to see it over here, but not really necessarily the top. So let's go back in there. So I've got -1,000 here, and maybe I try to make this one 1,000. All right, now I've got a good picture of the graph. So it doesn't have to be exactly the same window that I did, but you definitely want to change these y values. That's how I got it. All right, so now I have a good sense of the picture, and I can click on the x-intercepts to see what those are. So one of my x-intercepts, and I'm going to put this on my graph, one of my x-intercepts is -3. One of my x-intercepts is -0.75. One of them is 2.5, and one of them is 6. Okay, so let's go back to this screen, and I'm actually going to connect those dots. So I don't have any double roots, so it looks kind of like that. And remember, it's just a sketch, so as long as you've got the x-intercepts labeled, which you have to do here, and you've got kind of the basic shape correct, that's really what we're looking for. Notice also that it's curvy like a roller coaster. It's not pointy. All right, so that's the first thing. The second thing you need to do is take all of these roots, this is a 6, and you have to write them in factored form. So my first root is x equals -3. To write that in factored form, I write x plus 3. So I'm changing the sign. The next root is -0.75. So what you want to do is write this as a fraction. Now, if you don't know offhand that -0.75 is 3/4, I can go in my calculator, type in -0.75, and I'm going to press second and this PRB button. See the little F to D on top? That means fraction to decimal. So fraction to decimal or decimal to fraction, it goes both ways, and then I press enter. So it gives me -3/4. And if you recall, when I want to write this as a factor, I can't just write x plus 3/4. I'm going to take the denominator and write it in the front with the x, change the sign of the numerator, and put it at the end. So that's the factor that would give me -0.75. Then I've got 2.5. So again, I'm going to go to my calculator. If you didn't know how to write 2.5 as a fraction, I'm going to put in 2.5. Second, and we're going to go that F to D button again, and I have 2.5. Now, that right now is a mixed number. It has a whole number and a fraction with it. I actually need an improper fraction in order to put it as a factor. So I'm going to press something else. I'm going to press second and this ABC button. See, it says ABC and then to DE. That's what I want. And then I'm going to press enter. So I get 5/2. So again, I'm going to take that denominator and write it in front of the x, and then switch the sign on the numerator and write it second. And then my last one here is 6. So my factor is x minus 6. And then again, just want to make sure I've got 4 of them. Okay, I've got 4. And there's no double roots here, so I don't need to square anything. And that would be my equation.